As you can see, we just came out of an urgent meeting chaired by the Chief of Staff, and all the key players in the energy sector, in the management of Ghana's energy sector, were present. There is a grave matter that needed to be addressed. First of all, government needed to be briefed, and then we needed to hear what exactly can be done in the circumstance. But in order that you have a full appreciation of what the issues are, I'm going to invite Mr. Frank Otri, who is the Director, Systems Operations of GRIFCO. So he will step forward and brief you, after which I'll come back to add some closing remarks. Thank you very much. Mr. Otri, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Please, can you come inside the Let's go, please. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. So we came here because the West African Gas Pipeline Company informed about some plant maintenance activity that has to be done on the gas pipeline that runs from Nigeria and brings gas to Ghana. This, as they informed, is a critical maintenance after a certain number of hours and period of running to ensure the integrity of the pipeline. Now, this work requires that the pipeline, that the portion which sends gas to power plants in Tema will be shut down for the period. The period they need to do the maintenance is about 1 month. Now, because the gas that they supply to Tema plants in Tema is going to be shut down, it is needful that we get some liquid fuels for some of the plants in Tema to run so that we continue to have adequate supply even during the period of the pigging. What we came to inform the government is that yes, there are some liquid fuels, but it's not enough to cover for the period of the pigging. And so efforts have to be made to get enough volumes of the liquid fuel so that that critical maintenance can go on as planned. So this is what we came to inform the government. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll take it up from here. So what it is that that is precisely what has happened. Government has been briefed in order to address the situation, because we know that it is pretty urgent. A technical committee has been set up that has representatives from all the key players in the management of Ghana's energy sector, and they have up until the close of day today to put before government a roadmap on what exactly needs to be done and how it can be done. So you can rest assured that government is taking the matter seriously and will do what has to be done in order to avert any difficulty for the people of Ghana. It needs to be stressed that the pigging exercise, or if you like, the maintenance exercise on the pipeline, should have been carried out in October of last year. Government then, the NPP government, requested that they shift it to January 20th in order that they will have sufficient time to procure the alternative fuels, that is the liquid oils, to power the thermal plants within the period that gas will not be available. At least in about 2 national security briefings that the then president-elect held with the present government, he asked about the status of the procurement of oils, and he was given firm assurance by the then government that they had put mechanisms in place to resolve the situation, that there will not be the difficulty that we are talking about today. It does appear that that promise was not kept, and therefore the responsibility has shifted to the present government. But President Mama is alive to the task, and adequate responses will be fashioned to address this particular concern. Thank you very much.
Do we get the feeling that WAPCO would be sticking to the timeline of the January 20th, or the deferral is what you may be exploring?
Well, various options are on the table, and as I indicated, there's a committee, a technical committee, with representation from all the key players in the energy value chain that will be meeting, and they have close of day today to present a roadmap. So all options that can be explored to, first of all, avert any difficulty and address the situation at hand will be put on the table, and government will make a decision based on what we receive.
Will Dumso be returning?
Well, I think that we need to wait for the work of the committee to know exactly what can be done. The idea is to ensure that we minimize any impact as it were, of this particular situation.
Okay, so if anything I'm understanding, if there is any problem right now in regards to the power crisis, it would because fuel that was supposed to be purchased earlier.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been in government for 1 day. I'm not sure that you can order and have fuel delivered to you in 1 day.
Yes.
So, as I indicated, this should have been done at least in October. Government then said that they needed up to January 20th to put their house in order and do the procurement of fuel. During the security briefings that President Mahama had, he asked specific questions regarding the status of implementation of that plan. He was given firm assurance that everything was in order, only for us to discover, as of yesterday, that had not been done. And that is why, as a responsible government, we've taken up the mantle to ensure that we do the right things. So it has to be stated clearly that it was some dereliction of duty on the part of the outgoing government that has resulted in this situation. But we will take the steps that are necessary to address it.
Well, as it is also, we need to get what's imminently the latest up to the minutes, and Komla is joining us. Komla, you take a look at what had transpired and then subsequently what the great co-representative said after that meeting. Who were those who composed the meeting? What are they saying? Who are they in terms of those within the generators and that sector? And what has been the response so far of the Chief of Staff and the team from the President's office?
Jonathan, come.
Okay. We're here, right here. It looks like we're setting him up. So that's it. And it looks like... Okay, so he's back. Komla? Okay, so there's a bit of delay. So this is the private office.
That's not him. So you come back to.
Okay, so this is the private office. So we'll set him up properly, and then we'll be able to. All right. So I was asking you what's. Okay. So Komla, so far, what has been the reaction of the Chief of Staff who chaired that meeting? Who were the key players from the industry in that meeting regarding this very vexed matter?
Yes, I mean, in terms of the reaction of the Chief of Staff, yes, of course, they had some assurances from what we're told, and even in that interaction. At that national security briefing, which he himself was there, he said the assurances were given them only for them to be sworn into office just yesterday and be met with a reality. But they cannot complain about it except to face the reality and deal with it. And so they are the government of the day, and they have to accept responsibility of what the status quo is as of now and offer a solution. And so clear timelines he has issued to the technical team. In fact, he was even willing to give them up to between 2 to 3 days, but the team led by John Jinapor, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, and Dr. Kesela Tuforson, and these three individuals should tell you the gravamen of the situation, with Dr. Kesela Tuforson, so to speak, representing finance. You need to possibly work out together money. The Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa also has some a former Minister of Energy, and also John Jinapor, a former power minister. So it tells you the interest in them, but they have said that the technical team, you know, from here, in fact, just right from here, because the president is meeting the envoys in just a couple of minutes, they've been moved to another location for the constitution of the technical committee, and by close of the day, clear timelines would be given. And so the chief of staff's 2 to 3 days that he was actually thinking about, the team said no, they can do it today, and by close of the day, that will happen, because Ghanaian people who voted them into power do not have the laxity of time or the patience to wait for them. You are in office, and so no excuse whatsoever will be given. And so, yes, that commitment they have exhibited. We can only wait to see at the end of the day what the outcome of the Constitutional Technical Committee will be. In terms of the people who attended, PURC was there, GRADCO was there, Sempower was there, Senator Asogli was there, the current boss of the bulk oil storage company, Oscar Provençal, was also there as well. And almost all the players, I must say, they were summoned to that meeting by the Chief of Staff, who was also assisted by the Executive Secretary to His Excellency the President, Dr. Callistus Bahama, who were in that meeting together with John Jinapo, Emmanuel Amakufibwa, and Dr. Kesa Latoforsen. And so some seriousness, even at the beginning of the meeting, we had John Jinapo indicating that this meeting should be given all the seriousness it deserves and the clear timelines that they would be given. No excuse whatsoever would be taken from any of the players. And so the government of the day has taken seriously what's the looming, for want of a better word, crisis is, and are assuming responsibility of solving it. And so that is what it is. But whilst at that meeting, there were some questions that were asked. For instance, WAPCO, they were supposed, 20th January is when they are supposed to turn off for the maintenance or the pigeon, but it does appear, and then in that sound clip we played a short while ago when I asked Mr. Ofosu Kwakye what, whether they are exploring a deferment. Well, yes, WAPCO did say that yes, of course, they can look at a deferment, but they equally have contractors who are on the field, and these people are equally charging money, and as long as they delay on the field, they incur a lot of costs. In terms of money that is being looked at, I heard in the region of $236 million that is needed for the purchase of the fuel that is needed by this plant to operate. Where the government is going to get $236 million from remains unanswered. But it's critically important as well to get answers from the technical committee as to what the way forward is. Most probably, the option may be to look at a deferment for the government to organize itself in the interim, get the money and arrange it. Because even as of now, if arrangement is made for fuel to be brought into the country, it cannot take an hour or two or even 24 hours. We get the indication that maximum 2 weeks is what is required to have the fuel into the country. And even if it comes into the country, we get the indication from GRADCO they need about 2 weeks to be able to treat the fuel they will use. And so it requires a lot of time. That is how dire the situation is from this meeting that we have had.
So it means that if there will be resolution of this impasse or this difficulty or stalemate that the GRADCO and its clients find themselves, what then are the resolutions themselves from the stakeholders? I mean, the IPPs who have their representatives. I'm asking this because I see Dr. Elik Plim Apetogbo also in there, who heads the chamber, but also tends to represent Senator Asogli and many of those IPPs as well.
No, I mean, they have not given what the solution is as of now. It's the more reason why the technical team or the technical committee would have to be formed quickly, and then they would look at the solution. And it's the reason why they have moved right from the private office of the office of John Dramani Mahama to their own office to be able to put together all of this. And so we can only wait. Let me see if I can catch a brief one with Mr. John Juniper.
Felix has briefed you.
Yes, he's briefed me. The issue is about, we had you in the talk about the fact that by close of the day, the technical committee would be formed and then you will see a way forward. What's that assurance that yes, by close of the day, I recall in the meeting, you said you do not need 2 days or 3 days to do that. By close of the day, it will be done. What is the assurance to the people of Ghana?
Well, it's the chief of staff who has instructed us. He says we should report to him by close of today. So we have to report to him by close of today. If it means staying till midnight, that's what we'll do. We've already constituted a team, and so we'll start work immediately. We have some 2 meetings with His Excellency. Yep. Once those meetings are done, we'll move straight to work on the technical work. So that should be done. Thank you.
All right. Many thanks, John Juniper. He doesn't want to talk too much on it, but that's it. Like he said, it is the instruction of the chief of staff, and so the timelines would have to be met. And so by close of the day, a way forward would be seen.
In the response from John Juniper, but mainly it also means that the position of the various IPPs are very critical to this. Because if you remember, the Finance Ministry about 2023 had said that they had some discussions with them on how the main debt of 1.5 billion will be paid. And then subsequently, we've had a pile up of additional 1 billion, making it 2.3 billion, 2.5 billion. Now we're told that we could even exceed that 2.5 billion, and it's still piling up, and this money is needed. So we'll say, are the IPPs gone, or their representatives gone at all, or they still are around?
No, so they've moved from the private office of His Excellency the President to where they'll be meeting. That location is not known, but what is important is that by close of the day, they would or they must get back to the Chief of Staff on what the way forward is and what can be done urgently to avert what appears to be the looming, for want of a word, crisis in the energy sector. But it is important. It is important to note that the Chief of Staff has been very, very, very clear in terms of the directives that he has given to the people with respect to the urgency of the matter. And like I did hear you early on in the course of the day, in the course of the morning, indicating that already people are saying that yes, the government has been voted for, whatever the situation is. There's no need for an excuse now. He appears to find that also very important, because they can no longer give excuse to the people of this country who would want to stay in their homes, go to work, and enjoy the power of the lights being on any other time that they need it. And so they have to work around the clock to bring the situation under control. And so we can only wait till the technical committee by close of the day, comes out with a solution or a way forward on the matter, and then we can get to see what that will be.
So let's get this clarity. The president is operating from his private office?
Yes, for now, these meetings that are going on, from what we understand from the handlers, is that it will be done from here until further instructions. We are yet to know when he would move to the Flagstaff House. I say Flagstaff House because every other handler of his keeps talking about Flagstaff House, and so that is how they would want to view it. I would not be surprised if the insignia on the walls of the seat of government is changed from Flagstaff House, from Jubilee House as it is now to Flagstaff House, because I mean it's what it's been. In 2016, when it was Flagstaff House, we saw it immediately. The government lost power. I think just day, the following day after the swearing in, we saw it being changed on the wall just across the street where our studio is. It will not be surprising if the same thing happens again, seeing it being moved from Jubilee House to Flagstaff House, because on the lips of the handlers and many of the NPP, the NDC people who are senior members of the party, they keep talking about Flagstaff House, Flagstaff House, Flagstaff House. And so I will not be surprised if they go back to Flagstaff House in terms of how they would describe the seat of the government.
On your interaction, of course, it has to be, this has to be communicated formally, but as to when that inspection and occupation could be done for the Flagstaff House, do they have any timeline?
Roland, if you can repeat the question again.
Okay, so the moving into the Flagstaff House, do you have any idea when that could happen? A month from now, 2 months from now? Because there have to be renovation works, and then also there are security checks that need to be undertaken by the preferred national security outfits, etc.
I think as we speak, those things have been done. We are not quite clear on the timelines, and that has not been communicated to us as of yet. But for today, what we know is that these meetings, for instance, we know he will be holding bilateral talks with the Commonwealth Group. He will also be having another meeting with the World Bank Group as well. All of that would happen here in his cantonment office. We can only wait to see when he will move into the seat of government. But there's no indication that probably today he will be doing that. We cannot tell that for certain that it will be happening. Okay, so Roland, His Excellency the President is just right in his office now. He's just arriving in his private office now. So that's him. John Dramani Mahama has just arrived in his office. And